Hello everyone and welcome to Valley Homes on TV. I'm Debbie Giordano along with Todd Flesner.
Hello everyone.
And you're watching us on cable channel 26 where you can see our show on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m.
Terrific. Well, it's good to be back with folks, and I think we've got an interesting topic today. One that's, I think, gaining a lot of buzz, a lot of attention because of the situation with housing costs,
affordability
here in the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. So we've got a guest today. Pat Collins has joined us. Pat's with an organization called Housable, and they've got a solution or something that can help with this affordability issue. So we're going to talk with Pat today about something known as ADUs.
Okay, great.
So,
welcome, Pat.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on the show.
So we like to begin our show, talk a little bit about yourself first before we dive into the topic.
Great.
Let us know where you were born, where you were raised, and where you were educated, and what brought you to this area.
Yep. Yeah, so I was born in Berkeley in 1989, and the first, for 5 years of my life, I grew up in Oakland, went to Thornhill Elementary. I don't know if you're familiar, but
you're a local kid.
Yeah, I mean originally, and then I grew up from about 7 on in Helena, Montana, actually.
Okay.
And so my mom's from there, and so I kind of have I guess one half of my life in the city, one half in Montana, and kind of have a bit of both worlds in a way. So, and then more recently, I went to college in Missoula, Montana, and then actually a couple years ago, our original team with Housable, we actually had worked on a company before this that was focused on modular construction, and so we were accepted to local investment accelerator here. So that was my first move back to the Bay Area.
Right. So work brought you back.
Yep. Yeah, and
what keeps you here then?
It's the housing issues. In a way. They unfortunately are, causing people to have to leave, and in other ways, there's a big problem to be solved here. So, that's what is bringing us back.
Good.
To talk about
Perfect.
it.
So you've got this background in modular construction, and now these ADUs. Kind of, what led you on this path to get into this field?
That's a good question. So, early on, I actually ran a lawn and landscaping business, and that was my first exposure to the real estate market, actually, because we worked with property management companies. And so since then, I've really thought about ways that real estate development and housing, could be different, or at least the development of it could be more efficient. That led us to work on modular construction, where we're actually building houses out of recycled shipping containers, and we had delivered a lot of units to various states. I mean, a lot meaning about 10 altogether. And we found that although it's a really great architectural solution, it's visually exciting, there's a lot more to the process than just how the home is built. And so we realized, what's really holding us up here and our ability to grow this to something that can help a lot of people was really that the permitting process could be more efficient, and the information about what you can do on your property was pretty convoluted, and simultaneously things like the California state ADU laws were just coming into place. And so that really was kind of this moment where we decided, do we really want to keep building the whole home for people and delivering it as this package, or is there a way that maybe we can just help people get started with their projects, and then from there work with a contractor, work with a modular manufacturer, or just do it themselves.
Even. So that's a good understanding of the evolution of where you're at and where you are today. So exactly, what does your company do?
Yes, so Housable.com, it's HAUSABLE. .com. We basically provide an accessory dwelling unit resource for homeowners that are interested in building an ADU on their property, and that just provides them with the zoning requirements of their city that apply to their property, and they can type in their address and basically take a look at what the easiest
Nice.
way to add a unit to their property and even design their own right there on the platform.
Okay. So ADU, or accessible dwelling unit. Why would someone consider that? Why should someone think about putting
a
this
good
on
question.
as part of their property?
You know, we haven't found the silver bullet reason as to why everyone's doing it, but it's kind of a range of reasons. Investment potential is probably the top of the list. People that want to add value to their home and generate rental income. But it's also about family members and having more space so they can put up their kids when they come home from college, or aging family members as an alternative to a rest home. Those are really the top level reasons why people are doing it.
So my question is, are they always detached units, or can they be attached?
That's a good question. So it really depends on the area, but generally speaking, they can be a detached unit that's in your backyard. They can be attached to the primary structure as a new construction.
See, I always think of them as detached.
Yeah,
For some reason.
most
I
people
don't
do.
know.
Yeah, and then also even just conversions of existing space. So if you have a garage that is unused, you in a lot of cases can even convert those into a secondary unit.
So thinking about that process, I mean, are there differences in terms of a conversion, perhaps, of a garage or some existing space into a livable area versus building new or an outbuilding?
It really depends on the municipality, and that's why we wanted to solve that problem of, okay, depending on what city your home is in, what zoning district it's in, this has a large impact on what you're able to actually build on your property. So the first step for a homeowner is to determine, what can I do on my property? What's possible? And so, in an area like Fremont, where the lots are generally larger than the average, if you just look on a statewide basis, you might be best to do a detached unit. And there's also, things where when you have to convert a garage, for example, you a lot of times have to replace the parking with another garage, depending on the zoning. So it's kind of one of those things where, depending on the property and the zoning, it really is going to guide what is probably the most viable way to add a unit.
I think, Pat, you've answered this question,
We
which
kind of
is
jumped
good.
around a little
No,
bit.
that's
but,
okay.
yeah.
You've done well. So I'm thinking about doing an ADU. Give you a call. So you go through this preliminary process. How about timelines? What would I be looking at from start to finish
That's
on doing
a really
an
good
ADU?
question, and I think the general answer we have there is that the timeline varies a lot, but we've never really seen projects that take less than a year from start to finish.
Okay.
I mean, that's a really good rule of thumb. People might want to get it done faster, but really a year it's not that long when you consider that you're spending probably a couple $100,000 on a project like this. So we've actually found that 2 years, 1 year for planning and just getting ready, saving up money, and then a year for actual permitting and construction. So 1 to 2 years is a good rule of thumb.
Okay.
So you talked a little bit about the state in their role with ADUs, that they've come up with some guidelines and some policies for that. Does that then supersede or give direction for how you deal with this in any particular location, or are there city and local requirements that people need to be aware of as well?
Yeah, so the state law around ADUs, that's AB 2299 and SB 10069, these laws really are what made it possible for us to start doing what we're doing. It really would be very difficult for us to provide this information.
Well, they basically force local government to allow these. Whether if they didn't, then the state is saying you got to do it.
There's a certain set of minimum standards that they have to adhere to, and those have to do with maximum parking requirements and permitting fees, capping permitting fees. There's also things about conversions of existing space, existing units. There's a lot of provisions in these state laws that just really make it so that every city has to adhere at least to the minimum standards
Okay.
to allow these units.
So it sounds like that's made your role and your job with this a bit easier.
Yeah, it really made it something where something like what we're doing can exist. There's still a lot of local nuance, but there's at least a minimum framework that allows us to say, at least by these standards, that your city has to allow it.
Okay, you threw out a number, I think you said 200,000, you know?
Yeah, that's a good-
It's kind of a general number. So
Yeah.
I guess my question would be, if you haven't saved up the cash, what's available in terms of financing and?
It's a really good question.
How do homeowners look to finance these projects?
Yeah, it's something that right now is a little bit of a black box, unfortunately, but generally speaking, homeowners are doing a home equity line of credit, or renovation loans are becoming more popular. You can, if you're searching for it, you can search for Fannie Mae home style loans. That's something that's becoming more popular. But really, because someone's making an investment in their home, it should be something that's easier to finance, and we're looking for more people to get into the market in the future, and we basically want to direct homeowners in the right place.
Okay, good. So it sounds like you're getting some traction and moving forward with this. What are some of the things that you've taken away that are really enjoyable, or goals that you've had that you've seen obtained?
Yeah, one thing that we saw, on our work over the last few years on this market is that there's a lot of people that really just kind of have the tools themselves. They're architecturally minded, or they feel like they can design their own unit, and they just don't have the tools at their fingertips to be able to do it, whether it's design software or just being able to fill out the permit applications. And those are the things that we're actually seeing that we're starting to materially help people with.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's really rewarding, not to build the whole home, but actually just to basically get someone started and help them build the home themselves, or help them, find the right contractor, or, kind of putting those pieces together into a process is something that, we saw that was needed, and it's rewarding to see it start happening.
Awesome.
So we did talk about what are some of the issues that commonly come up, but what are some of the other challenges?
Parking is definitely one of the biggest issues.
Mm-hmm.
Parking, because it affects everyone in the neighborhood. It's not just the home. It's are there going to be a bunch more cars on the street if we add ADUs?
I know at the city level, we talked about prohibiting garage conversions, stopping that because of the fact that there was now nowhere to park.
That's right.
And littering
That's
the
right.
street with cars.
And it does vary from community to community. So, the other bigger challenge than just parking is just that people don't want to see their neighborhoods change. People that don't want to build an ADU are concerned, hey, if everyone else builds ADUs, is that going to hurt, the community that, I've lived in for 20 years? And so I think that it's not all on one side where it's all ADUs or nothing, and it's also not that we should prohibit these. There's somewhere in the middle that really makes sense, but making the requirements more well understood is probably the most important next step for this market to start to grow.
Mm-hmm. Good. How about the future? As you look down the road, what are some of the goals that you have?
I think a significant percentage of the single-family homes in California should have an ADU. Probably right now it's less than 1%, but have a legally permitted ADU, I should say. I think it's significantly above 1%. Have some form of ADU, whether or not it's permitted is another story. So this is already something that people are doing, and I hope that in the future, realtors and lenders and contractors can all just kind of get behind a way to value these units, and a way to recognize them as a standard attribute of a home that people are looking for, and make it more affordable.
Right,
Yeah. Well, good. Well, you provided a lot of information, a lot of starting points for people as well. If someone's interested in this, how do they find out more?
Yeah, just go to houseable.com. That's HAUSABLE.com, and search your city. We serve all of California with information, resources, and even design tools where you can configure your own home, your own ADU for your property. And this is something that we're we're actively taking feedback on, and want to make
topic.
it something that's a resource that people can build their units with.
Great topic. Well, Pat, thank you for taking the time. I know you came a long way
Yeah.
for our show.
Yeah,
We appreciate you.
I'm excited about
You
it.
even took Bart here.
Yeah. yeah.
Next year you can actually
Yes.
take Bart and stop in Milpitas. How about that?
That sounds excellent, actually.
Won't that be great?
Yeah, that will be great.
Well, good. Well, again, thanks, Pat, for coming and joining us. And this is really a part of a solution that's a bigger issue for all of us.
Absolutely.
Increasing supply.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
The following is a public service announcement test to determine if you need a fishing license and boat registration before you head out on the water. Let us begin. Are you a pelican? Does this look like your house? Is this your idea of fishing with friends? Do you use your feet as fishing hooks? Are you your own boat? Do you have webbed feet? No, I mean like a... That's the one. Do you want this in your favorite lake? Yuck, yike. No thanks, mister. Regardless how you answered, you need to be licensed and registered because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at takemefishing.org.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Valley Homes on TV with Todd Flesner, and I'm Debbie Giordano. We're here to give you kind of a snapshot of what's going on in the real estate world in the city of Milpitas.
Yeah, so it's summer of 2018.
Yep, it's been a kind of a crazy summer. So,
It has been.
So I just want to jump right in. It's been a real topic of late as to have we hit peak in the market, and I would say in April we may have hit the top range.
Okay, in terms of price?
Price, absolutely.
Okay.
It's not reflective yet in the numbers, so when we wrap up, I'll give you some quick numbers. But April we peaked. May, June, July. Typically, summer starts to slow down just because of the traffic flow is less, more people on vacations. You have less buyers looking. Market is still strong, but there's been about $100,000 to $150,000 price adjustment over those last 3 months.
Interesting. So, earlier in this year we were talking about what a hot market it was.
Exactly.
Seller's market.
Exactly.
And so you're seeing it becoming a more balanced market now.
More balance, yeah, I would say.
So we have numbers, kind of what's been happening here. What do the numbers show us?
Okay, well, I compare by years,
Okay.
so there's a great big bump, but again, we're going to see a reduction here in the next few months. In July of 2017, the average single home price was $1,067,000, and that jumped up to July of 28 to $1,290,000.
Okay.
So that's that fast market, that fast appreciation that really hit the skids and stopped.
Okay.
Condo market took a major jump. In July of 2017, it was $745,000 to this year, July 2018, $984,000.
Okay.
So I think the market just expanded so quick, so fast. Job market's good, as you know.
Absolutely.
But the ability of people to qualify, and I think we're seeing an adjustment there, don't you?
Yeah, interest rates are up a little bit from where they were earlier in the year, so it has a little bit of impact in terms of people's borrowing power. And I think also that frenzy that we were in terms of the competition, I think people have stepped back from that and trying to get a little perspective is what I see.
The bidding of $200,000, $300,000 over list price, that's certainly gone away.
Yeah, absolutely. How about numbers of homes that are on the market these days? Is that up? Or?
Yeah, generally that's up. Today there's 32 homes in the city of Milpitas for sale. That's not a high inventory, so we can't really say that the market is slowing down because there's higher inventory. It's just a very steady state. There's 28 pending sales, 32 listings. So that's a good, healthy market.
Okay. All right. I saw an interesting chart not too long ago that looked at Bay Area history of home prices.
Okay.
Right, over the last 40 years, and shows that we get into these rapid appreciation cycles, and those cycles tend to be 5 to 7 years in length.
Okay.
And then we'll hit a plateau. And that plateau would depend upon other economic factors and cycles. It will plateau for a little bit, and then we'll get into another appreciation cycle.
Probably.
And,
We'll see. We'll
yeah.
see.
And so it looks like right now we're about in year 7 of the most recent cycle of escalation of prices. So it may be that timing is due as
Interesting. I think you may be spot on with that.
well. So we'll continue to watch and see how things.
And as you know, a lot of the down payments come from stock options. So
Yes.
as long as the tech companies remain healthy here
Mhm.
and give the stocks to the employees, that creates that huge down payment that's needed. I'm seeing offers where the buyers are coming in with 3, 4, 500,000 cash down. And that's usually from stocks.
Yeah, that's a big portion of what's been driving our market here. Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
do you want to quickly give interest rates and then we'll close?
Yeah, interest rates have stabilized now. We tend to be in about the 4 3/4 range or so, depending upon the loan amount and credit and those sort of things. But that's for a 30-year fixed, and all sorts of different options. Of course, everybody's situation is a little bit different, and so, but we're still in the 4s.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
It is. Historically, that's a great rate. We're up maybe 1% over what the all-time lows have been, but we're not back
right.
in that cycle where rates are
You wanna
super high.
Give your contact information.
T. Flesner at opusadvisors.com is a great place to catch me if you have questions.
Questions, and also Giordano DJ at AOL.com for myself.
All right, terrific. Well, we appreciate having folks join us, and
Absolutely.
we'll keep you posted on what happens with the market as we go forward.
It is exciting. Yeah. Thank you.